So today we come to the high feast days of our church. This is what it's all about, that Jesus is risen from the dead. Now, a lot of times we can kind of get into this mentality of, oh yeah, that's a nice little fairy tale or something, once upon a time, some sort of a myth about, Almighty God, coming and doing this. And yet, what we know is that the gospel writers were writing not mythology or not a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but they were writing history. And in fact, they were writing what they experienced. I mean, just read today's gospel. Did you see how much running there was going on? That Mary Magdalene runs from the tomb and gets Simon Peter and John, and then they run, and a detail that would make absolutely no sense if it wasn't something that he was remembering. John saying, I remember running faster than Peter and I got there first. It's like, okay, not everything is a competition. Yes, it is. But we look and we see these details, or like how he sees, there's the burial cloth. Number one, nobody could have possibly stolen the body and then left the burial cloths there, because if you remember from Good Friday and the reading of the Passion of John, we hear about how Nicodemus comes with all these perfumes and other things and uses them to anoint the body, and basically it'd be like putting him into like a mummification type of thing. And even if Jesus just resuscitated, he wouldn't have been able to get out of those burial cloths. It was all stuck together. But something new happened. And all these little details are things that John is remembering as he's recounting the gospel today, saying, this is not just a nice story. I saw him alive. I saw the empty tomb. I saw the burial cloths. And the fact that he came back from the dead changes everything. It changes everything. When we think about our lives and the struggles we have, don't we so often think, where is God now? Or as we're dealing with the problems of our lives, what did I do wrong? Why is God punishing me? And yet, these are not the right questions to be asking. Because where is God now? God went to the cross to experience every suffering we did. And then he rose to show that suffering and even death doesn't have the final word. What did I do wrong? Well, that's always a strange question. Why is all this bad thing happening to me as if it's my fault? Well, of course, there are some things that are our own fault. If we spend our whole lives smoking, the fact that we get cancer or something like that, that shouldn't surprise us. But a lot of bad things happen to us that have nothing to do with our choices. And in fact, if we look at the people who suffered the most, they weren't the ones that had rejected God, but were the closest to God. No one suffered more than Mary. And she was the closest to Jesus. And so when we ask these questions, what did I do wrong? Where is God now? These are the wrong questions. The question is, am I keeping my eyes fixed on Jesus? You know, the incredible thing, as Mary Magdalene gets to the tomb, she says, wait a second, the stone's removed from the tomb. The stone is removed from the tomb. This is something that she wouldn't have been able to do. And even if Jesus had just risen in his humanity and not been divine, if he'd just been resuscitated, like somebody had gotten and clear, that he'd just come back to life, that he wouldn't have been able to move the stone. It would have been too heavy for him from the inside. It would have taken a few men, strong men, maybe with levers, to be able to move this stone out of the way. but the stone is blown back. And we can look and we see in their struggles, in our brokenness, in our sinfulness, we can very often see it's like that stone that's in front of the tomb that can't be moved. It's too much for us. And God says, if you trust me, if you surrender to me, I can move that stone with my little pinky, as if it were nothing. But do you trust me? Do you trust my timing? Do you trust that I'm moving in your life? Do you trust that I can conquer even death? Our faith tells us that God has overcome the sting of sin and death. Where, O death, is your sting? Where, O death, is your pain? That God has overcome even that. And now we know there's nothing too big for God. Too big for God to handle. And so as we go through our days, as we go through our struggles, the trying times, even the small things, those little things that just kind of get under our skin in the day-to-day life, as these things happen in our lives, the Lord is inviting us, place them on that stone. When it seems like there's no hope, when it seems like there's no change that's going to happen, place them in that stone. And say, Jesus, I trust in you. And in God's perfect timing, we will see that stone flung away. We will see that God can conquer even death.